co-pilot. I've got to fly solo now. Hey, I think we're live, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. It is Brainfood live on air, bringing it to you every Friday, no fail. I hope you are enjoying the week so far. I'm personally delighted to be here and bringing this conversation with you. It is a topic I've been wanting to do for a long time, actually. And in fact, one of the most popular topics, I think, one of the most popular kind of series that we've been running on Brainfood Live has been this kind of how to recruit from type series, where we're looking at, all of these sites that people kind of spend a lot of time in and see, what we recruiters can do to potentially engage with that community, whether it's on Reddit, whether it's on Slack, whether it's on wherever these places might be. And today, folks, we are going to be talking about Discord, which is really the up and coming new kid on the block when it comes down to a space for community and a space for communication. So this should be a great show. We've got an amazing guest list. We've also got some people that have got some direct experience of doing this. So I'm going to try and bring some folks from the crowd on screen today. So you better have your makeup on, folks, in case you get kind of invited. Anyway, listen, let's just quickly do some sound checks as usual. This is what we always do just to make sure audio and video is okay. I don't think we've failed for a long time, actually, so I think we're doing good. But if you can hear me on the chat stream, can you let me know on Crowdcast? Let me know on the chat stream whether you can hear me okay. Audio is fine and the mic is okay. Same goes for folks who are watching this in different places. We should be live streaming this, multicasting this, should I say, in multiple places. So I can see I'm live. Am I? Yes, I am live on LinkedIn, which is good. And I should be pumping this out on the Facebook group and on Twitter as well. So if you can hear me in those places, let me know in a comment or something like that so that I can see that everything is okay. Okay, Tom Bolt, I agree. Crowdcast does indeed rock. I think personally, it's by far the best live streaming sort of platform out there, but very few people seem to use it for some reasons I don't know. But anyway, looks like audio is fine. Okay, let's talk about our sponsors, folks. Every week, no fail. As we're coming on air, we have a company stepping up and sponsoring the show. We have to give massive thanks to our sponsors because without them, we wouldn't be able to do this. So today's sponsor, I'm delighted to say, is a company called Brick. BRYQ.com. Brick are a talent intelligence software company, folks. They basically find a way to objectively find the qualities and traits of the people so that they can be better matched to jobs, whether they're vacancies that you have now or some career path you have in the future. They can help you do that. They're a company, I think, in a category that I really like. It's about assessment, but moving away from pure acquisition to also internal mobility, personal development, and general talent intelligence as well. Imagine if you're a business and you're able to kind of understand very clearly where the distribution of skills are, where the distribution of motivations is within your company, you will be in a much better position to make human resource decisions if you had that information. So do check out Brick. They're a very cool company based out of, in fact, I think they're headquarters in Athens, but actually they're located everywhere as well. So do check them out, internationalbusinessbrick.com. Okay, let's get on with the show. We're going to dive straight into it. I want to bring some guests here on straight away. Change of plan. We're going to bring everyone at the same time because we've got enough people to do it. So let's get on with it now. Aaron Matthew, late joiner, late kind of invitee, but first on screen. Let's do that. We've got Wim as well. Wim, in fact, let's bring him on. We have Rosie Sherry also. Bring Rosie on. And I can see Talia as well. I'll bring you on as well a bit later. So here we go. Okay, there we go. Let's see. Well, we'll do some introductions first of all. Let's see. Firstly, Aaron, for the people who don't know you, can you quickly introduce yourself? Who are you? What it is you do?
Yeah, I'm Aaron Matthew. I am a senior talent sourcer over at PayPal. And I've been sourcing for about 7 years, and I've done just about every industry from aerospace to education to healthcare. But fintech is new to me, so it's been exciting for the last couple months.
Great stuff. Great to join you, to see you back on the show as well, Aaron. And Wim, for the people who don't know you, can you quickly intro yourself? Who are you? What it is you do? Oh, he's still on mute, bro. Let me unmute him. Hey, you might have to unmute yourself, Wim. Okay, whilst you get on with that, let's introduce Rosie, because I see Rosie here. Rosie, great to see you. A long time no see, as a matter of fact. But I keep up with you on Twitter and everywhere else. So can you quickly introduce yourself? Who are you? What it is you do, my dear?
Yeah, I'm Rosie. I live in Brighton in the UK, and I call myself a community builder. So I currently am building community for community people over at rosie.land.
And that's no lie. A lot of people say they're community, but Rosie's actually one of the pioneers of the field. If you check out her career path, it's absolutely amazing. I don't know whether you recall, Rosie, but I think we first interacted when you might have been like a QA candidate or something. And I might have tried to hire you. This is like in the Jurassic, you know, I can't remember when. Dinosaurs were still around. But then since that time, you've like literally created this entire niche where I think you're like one of the leading practitioners and experts in community building, not just a theoretician, but someone who's doing it consistently, building these amazing online spaces. So really great to have you on the show. Wim, I think you're there, but you're also still muted. I don't know why. Can I unmute Wim? I can't. It's not on my side, bro. Yeah, refresh, log out, clear cache, do what you need to do, man. Okay, let's sort of go to Erin firstly, because I think, Erin, your position here is probably as similar, or at least is probably closest to most people that are watching the show, in the sense that you're a recruiter. You know, you're by no means an expert, I don't think, on Discord, but you might have interacted with Discord, been on there, and you might have spoke to a few people. Maybe you've done some recruiting there. I don't know. Tell me your experience from this particular tool.
Yeah, so I would say that I'm relatively new to Discord, but the reason that I've gotten my feet wet a little bit into it is actually because of my sourcing on Reddit, which everybody knows. I'm on there all the time. I'm finding great candidates and talent there. But what I've discovered is a lot of these communities are now starting their own Discord channels to have more live discussions with each other rather than these text-based posts on Reddit. So I kind of stumbled upon a couple of communities when I was researching how to source for blockchain developers. So I was looking into the crypto devs Reddits that, have people that are actually building blockchains. You know, it's separate from those communities on Reddit with people saying, oh, buy this token, it's going to go to the moon. You know, it's the people that actually know how to build blockchain. And I guess it shouldn't surprise me that much that there's overlap with Discord, because blockchain is now being used in gaming. So Discord is primarily used by gamers, right? So I can see why there would be that kind of overlap there. So I figured out that it's a great place to source talent, because a lot of people are putting their GitHub profiles with right next to their name in their Discord account. And then a long while back, I had another exposure to Discord when I was helping a friend try to find, actually it was instructors to teach MCAT prep courses. So it's a really hard thing to find people that have taken the MCAT, which is the medical school admissions test here in the US. But in order to teach for this company, you had to score in the 90th percentile on the test. But how do you really source for that? Are people on LinkedIn bragging about their MCAT score? Maybe, but not exactly. And because of the MCAT subreddit, I found their Discord channel as well. And everyone in that channel has their score right next to their username. I guess it's part of the registration for that channel. So it was like shooting fish in a barrel to find them there. So, this friend that I was helping out, is now a huge person that sources on Discord for that. So,
Really interesting experience. Wim, I think we're still muted on you.
Can you guys hear me now?
Oh, something's happened. Yeah.
Oh, there we go. I fixed it.
No worries.
Awesome.
Amazing. Well, Wim, as you've just sort of articulated for the first time, I don't think you've introduced yourself. So let's throw it over to you. Who are you? What it is you do?
Really quickly. I'm Wim. I'm a recruiter and sourcer for Tennet, which is a huge company in the Netherlands. I talk at a bunch of stuff. I give a bunch of trainings, and I have a newsletter for French and Dutch speakers.
Yeah, amazing. Great to see you and live with us as well, Wim. Okay, so actually go back to Erin. You mentioned a couple of things that were really interesting, and I want everyone to kind of think about this as well. Basically, you saw subreddits, which is a place where people go and have maybe started communities that were very, very public, but they're starting to create a little bit more private type places. And Discord, maybe because of the difference between maturity between these platforms, or adoption maturity, should I say, is a little bit sort of more quiet. And also it supports live chat. It supports stuff like this, right? I assume we could do like a video type of thing on Discord. You can't do that on Reddit. Reddit's still so text-based. And it provides people another thing. So there's your first clue as a recruiter. If you're looking at Reddit and there's a bunch of subreddits that you think are quite interesting, there's a decent chance there's probably someone's fired up a Discord server at some point, and people might be migrating there or using them both simultaneously. So really good insight on that. And secondly, you mentioned something about sort of how people might migrate to it sort of from outside of the tech world a little bit, because I think all of these new tools are always going to be tech. The techs are sort of technical people are going to be adopting it first. That's something I think we can generally accept as true. But very quickly, there's going to be people and communities are going to find the use for it, and suddenly there'll be non-technical type of communities evolving there as well. Very, very interesting. Okay, Wim, as we've got you on, tell us a little bit more about your. In fact, why don't you answer this question? How would you describe Discord as being different from any of the other sort of places that we might build community?
I always call it a bit of like the growing up of IRC for the people who still know how like the old chat room type of deals were happening. It's like becoming a more of like techies finding IRC again and having chat platforms again with each other. And it's a place where people can chat and they can voice chat and they can even video chat if they want to. But again, it's platforms where people with the same interests start to clump together and start coming together. And suddenly you have groups of like 1,000 good Java developers or 10,000 programmers all talking together about their specific interests.
What sort of, why would they use Discord though? I mean, we have things like Slack, don't we? We have LinkedIn groups, we have Facebook groups, we have WhatsApp groups. Like, why have these groups moved into a place like Discord?
I think Slack is the nearest one that comes closest, but there's a lot more functionality in Discord on the voice chat side, and it's very easy to use, and a lot of gamers and techie people started with it, and it's just been growing since then. I think I have a Discord account since 2015 or something, and it's just been growing since then, and people have just been jumping on. And I was using it for gaming before I was using it for sourcing for developers.
How would you use it for gaming? I don't understand this.
Just people, a lot of games, a lot of like have their own like Discord where they discuss new releases or something happening in the game or stuff happening at that time. So that's for gaming, or even for like you have your own little group that wants to have a voice chat while they're doing things in a game.
Right, I see. So let's say it's a multiplayer game. I can set up a little channel somewhere, and then the people who are participating in the game, we can all kind of like, you know, give each other crap, I guess, as we're playing this game. That's the idea, because the game itself won't have that functionality. Is that kind of how it works?
Yeah, you do it on top of a game where you don't have the voice chat functionality, and then you just get into the same room together and you start discussing or discuss strategies or give voice call outs.
Because there's voice chat. I need to obviously dive deeper into this. And Rosie, I wonder whether you could help me a little bit. So essentially, Discord seems to be a bit more rich media than just text. So I was thinking, how are you meant to be chatting with people when you're playing a game? Surely your fingers are like fully deployed playing whatever game you're playing. But in fact, you can talk to people and have real-time audio in a channel or in a group on Discord. Is that right?
Yeah. My kids, actually, I got introduced to Discord through my kids, and that's how they use it. They play games and they meet up with friends, and you can hear them shouting in the background, laughing, all kinds of stuff. So Yeah, I think it's, you know, it's got that vibe of I think Discord is like definitely like more in the now, even though it's changing a bit more. They've like released forum functionality, which I haven't quite checked out, but there's, you know, definitely this vibe of like the audio, the video, the stream of chat. Like it feels like it's about the now. At least that's how it started. It's like let's do something together now.
Okay, that's a really important insight as well. I think we're building a little bit of a picture as to what the experience is for people going into Discord. Number one, a little bit more private, maybe a little less noisy than you would get on Reddit. I think places like Reddit can also be quite brutal sometimes in an unpleasant way. You know, it's very easy to trigger like an unpleasant comment. You know, I kind of do that for fun, but obviously it's not something you want to do, you know, if you're just having a normal conversation, or maybe you have, you know, more healthy ways of enjoying yourself. So yeah, interest groups, less maybe, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Less hassle or less prospect of being, you know, trolled in some way. And real time. Go ahead, Wim.
It also has a lot more community feel than, for example, Reddit, because in Reddit anybody can hop in and hop out like they want to, but on Discord you have a larger barrier to entry. You have to get verified, you have people checking you out before you're allowed to join certain servers, and then suddenly like you're part of that community and people tend to know each other a lot more, so it's a bit more closely knit in a lot of those communities.
Yeah, more gatekeeping.
That's actually a really important part of community, isn't it? Because if you allow everyone in, unfortunately, the community will quickly evaporate because there's no barrier to entry. So you do need to police it. I think community is built at the gate, unfortunately. It's not only about including everyone, you have to exclude some folks, I'm afraid to say. Now, sort of, how does this work? I just seen someone, Wim, it was you. There is an invite link. So basically, I can't just find a Discord server and apply. I need to be invited. Is that correct?
Yeah, there are a few like places where you can look for Discord servers, but most of the time you have to get invited by somebody inside the server, or even an administrator has to invite you, depending on the server settings. So you cannot just join any server willy-nilly. Like I have a few servers where I control who comes in and who goes out. And so you have to know that the server exists, and then you have to know somebody who can invite you to that place. And sometimes it's really easy to get an invite, and sometimes it's really hard to find somebody who knows the server and can get you in.
Is there a way in which I could request an invite?
Yes.
If I found the server, the link to the server, yeah?
Yeah, that's what I did with the crypto devs one. That one is relatively open to pretty much everyone, but they police it pretty heavily. So, you know, if you're a recruiter that's going in there and spamming everyone, you're going to get banned very quickly. Yep. But they did actually create a separate channel for job searching for blockchain development jobs there. So they've kind of sequestered all of that activity to one part of the channel. And if you don't put it in the right part of it, you're going to pretty much almost immediately get a ban. So I tell everybody, if you're sourcing on Discord, the rules are very similar to that of Reddit. It's kind of like, you know, it's a fragile ecosystem. Don't, you know, basically don't bother people where they're going to talk about things that they enjoy, right? If at all possible, find them outside of the server. Like if someone has a GitHub link in their Discord profile, reach out to them there. You know, basically don't bother them on the platform where they're going for entertainment or enrichment in their career.
Yeah, so I think it's actually very similar to any community, isn't it? I mean, it's sort of almost a platform agnostic rule is, you know what, if a bunch of people have gathered for an interest for a particular topic, you just imagine, you know, you go to a gaming event or something, or, you know, you go to a place that's, you know, a bunch of people are going to be talking about a book, it's a book club or something. You know what, an out of context approach is kind of high risk, you know. I mean, you're entitled to get some backlash on that if you're just banging on about your job and stuff like this. So I think you've got to basically understand sort of that is the purpose of the community, respect it. Some of the larger communities will eventually have specific spaces that talk about recruitment. And that's where essentially you want to locate the conversation. I like the term sequestered. I think that shows us that the communities generally are aware that it's actually sometimes occasionally interesting to talk about jobs.
Yeah.
Of course it is. We're all looking for new opportunities, especially these days with multiple revenue streams coming out, looking for partners. We're looking for ways to collaborate, but there's maybe specific spaces for this to happen, and that's where essentially most of the conversations might take place. And of course, take it offline if you typically can, and there's public data that the person's provided in some way. GitHub profile might give you an email at some point, an email from the outside. I think that's probably a standard way to try and do it without necessarily, whilst basically maintaining the rules and being a good citizen in community. Rosie, let's go to you on this because you kind of you do actually write the book on this. Feel free to share your book, by the way, into the chat stream. How should recruiters behave in community? As I know that obviously you're coming very much from a perspective of, look, it has to be sort of interest only. That's the main reason. But occasionally there's a reason why people might want to talk about jobs and discover opportunities. How should a recruiter deal with that scenario? Like, what are the rules that you would give to a recruiter that wants to do the right thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really important to think about it from the people who build the community. It's like, why does the community exist, and why is it set up, and what are their rules and reasonings for existing? And I think it's easy to underestimate like how much effort people put into creating these spaces, and quite often people come and abuse it or don't appreciate it as much, or don't spend enough time within the community. Rule of thumb is like, spend some time in there, like ask questions, get to know some people. And another great question is just like reaching out to the founders or the mods and saying, how can I help? Is there anything we can do to support you? Kind of, kind of like, you're not just there to take. It's like communities is about giving back as well. Maybe you can sponsor an event, maybe you can sponsor the have a sponsored channel or sponsor a job channel or something like that. Or maybe give like a talk to help people if they're looking to find a job. It's like, what are some CV tips or something, or where's the best place to go find XYZ job. There's all types of ways to support without actually saying it's like we're looking to recruit. And like the more you kind of contribute, then the more people will start to respect you and actually reach out to you and actually say, oh, that's the recruiting person, you should speak to them. And like all of a sudden people are pointing to you and you're not having to always be doing the searching. That's
right. Brilliant. It's energy in before energy out, folks. You can't just be going there and trying to extract energy from this system. That's generally it's an extractive approach, and people are going to resist it because they've already created that energy. You need to provide something. So I think going forward, some basic stuff like recruiters actually know a lot of things that the normal people outside do not know. And you'll be amazed at how some of the things that we really dismiss as important information actually is really critical information. And you could provide that advice to people for free. Why don't you speak to the mods and say, you know what, I'm going to give a talk about how to negotiate your salary or something. I guarantee you, a bunch of people do not know how to do that, and they'll be very keen to actually get an insider's view from, okay, this is how a recruiter works. Lots of people get confused about how recruiters screen candidates, screen CVs. Why are these questions being asked? If you can just fill in these gaps for people, that's adding value. Now, here's an important thing though. We need to talk about it. What's the best policy in terms of your identity? Should I go in as Hung Lee, or should I go in as like recruitment ninja or something? Like, what do I call myself in there? Like, am I sort of who I am, or am I pseudo anonymous, or am I completely anonymous? What's the policy?
Well, I just don't want to change my username, so I have the original one that I used in a Discord channel for a coding class that I took. So I'm Buddy the HTML elf. So yeah.
Can you change your name, or are you totally committed to? You can change your name.
Oh, you can. Okay.
You can change your name per server. Even you can specifically have your own nickname per server, and some servers like ask people to put on their real names instead of their nicknames. But I just have a nickname I use everywhere else, so that people can easily find me everywhere else as well, because it builds a bit of credibility, because people are going to check you out and people are going to look you up. And then if they can easily find out that, like, hey, this person's also on Reddit and he's also doing all the other stuff, and he looks like a pretty decent recruiter without be like, he's not a machine recruiter who just goes like, I am a recruiter, go for my job now everywhere, but also talks about other stuff, then that could become better, then I can build that credibility. And one of the things I always do is I always hand out my LinkedIn email, my LinkedIn profile to everybody on Discord, Reddit, everywhere else, because then I can see who has viewed my profile, and then I can find them that way as well.
Yeah, that was a good technique that you talked about. I forget what the topic was. Maybe it was on Slack or something.
It was on Reddit, I think.
It was on Reddit. Yeah, but just on that, basically the community, there's two things that Wim's mentioned there. Firstly, building up some sort of reputation, I think, is very, very useful. I mean, obviously, that's something I would definitely promote, but I'm like a super public person these days, which is a slightly different role, I think, to a lot of recruiters who, perhaps a little bit more subterranean. However, I still think it makes sense to have an identity that people can find you on, because that just builds some credibility. If I find a recruiter handle, if Buddy the HTML, for instance, I can find this person in Reddit, I find her in Slack, and I find out she's a recruiter in tech and all this. Suddenly, I get just a little bit more confidence that it's not some spammer or some troll account, or some even potentially a bot account, because we don't know. There's a trust crisis when it comes down to new interactions with people. I don't know whether everyone feels the same, but whenever I look at my DMs, for instance, on whatever platform, straight away I'm thinking that's a spam account before I do anything. But if I start seeing, okay, I recognize somebody or some name or some picture or whatever, I feel a little bit more confident. I'm more inclined to spend just a few more seconds figuring that out. So I think it is quite important to do, although that comes at a kind of a concession on privacy. Go ahead, Rosie.
Yeah, I was just going to add to that like Discord has a kind of a bit of a bad reputation for having a lot of scams. So that's like another important aspect to think about is, there are settings that you can adjust. I think at a service setting and also a personal setting to not accept like DMs from other people. And quite often, like in some servers, especially like kind of crypto blockchain ones, when you join, like other people, like scammers join that, and then they go through the list or whatever, and then they start DMing you. So if you've not got your settings right, you can be quite prone to getting just not great stuff. And like some of them like really try to pretend to look, like they change their profile photos to be like that of the admin and stuff like that. So it's like you can almost understand that it's just like a click, clicking the wrong link can really lead you down the wrong path. So yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the big downsides of Discord. For me, it's like has a loss of trust because of that. And I've never really experienced that in Slack. I get the occasional person like sneaking into Slack and I don't know, sending some porn through it. I've had that once, like in my whole 8 years of managing Slacks. But yeah, and like just in comparison with Discord, I just had so much of it for quite a while.
Yeah, I totally get it, and I think maybe that's also a factor for, I wouldn't say the slow adoption, but basically the more tech-orientated adoption on Discord. People are maybe just a little bit more confident in dealing with this stuff. On the mainstream side, I think a lot of people might be intimidated by, wandering into a space that isn't mainstream yet, and then suddenly getting, potentially, feeling that they might get some sort of be on the end of some scam, so to speak. So very interesting observation. And I think it's one of those things about any online community, very difficult to completely eliminate without like massive concessions to privacy issues. No social network or social platform, as far as I am aware, would demand things like, verified ID. I mean, some of them do for transactions, I guess. But we're talking into, going into financial transactions type stuff. And, there's lots of reasons why you want to allow some anonymity into online spaces. So yeah, it's a difficult one. We just got to play a bit common sense. And yeah, absolutely, Lee. Lee is back again. And yeah, you have to be vigilant. That's the case. It'd probably be helpful to give people just a how-to training course, like a one sort of a one-pager checklist to say, yo, here's on Discord, here's how you can kind of eliminate just to increase the security a little bit, maybe improve your experience. Here the basic configurations for best security, but decent experience. That might be something that's useful to produce. Okay, talk to me about the technical side of it. People tell me it's a decentralized system. Like, what does that mean? Can someone explain?
Every server is its own kingdom, and its own person runs that server. And if you mess up in that server, if the server admin or any of the moderators kicks you out, you are done. So
how is that different from being on a subreddit then?
I mean, I think it's pretty much the same as subreddits. In subreddits, you also have your local admins who do their stuff, and if you manage to cross them and they kick you out, you are gone forever.
Yep.
Okay, so we know that the mods have lots of authority, but the decentralized nature to me still needs to be explained. Rosie, have you got any sort of way to explain it to me?
I don't feel like it's decentralized.
Okay.
Like, I don't know. I guess I'm not an expert on decentralization, but like
it does run on the Discord server, so I don't think it's technically decentralized. I don't think.
Yeah, because when I think decentralized, I think that it's a peer-to-peer network that isn't managed by any one person, company, or anything like that. So I guess it doesn't really quite fit the definition of decentralized.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could be totally wrong. I mean, hey, there's lots of evidence for that. You know what I mean?
No, because everything on Discord is still run on Discord servers, so I don't think it's decentralized in that way.
No, okay, good. Listen, if anybody is a Discord server administrator wants to step up and have a drop in a comment for us, that'd be really interesting because I personally. I'm ignorant of this, and I'd love to fill in the gaps. It could be I'm completely wrong, and actually, this Discord might be categorizable in the same way. We can put them into the same part, if you like, as the Reddits and Slacks of this world. Okay, cool. Listen, this may be a natural moment to take a little bit of a mini break. Don't go anywhere, because the purpose of the break is actually something really important, and that is to basically increase everyone's network value, because there's no reason why this conversation shouldn't continue. Why not continue it on a Discord server? That's probably where it should be in the first place. But listen, Brainfood Live is a show that is a conversation starting show. We have to come off air. That's inevitable. We only have a maximum of an hour anyway on this before we get kicked off. But it's important for me that basically people have the opportunity to continue the conversation even though we have to stop. So why don't you take a moment, take your LinkedIn profile and stick it in the chat stream in Crowdcast, or if you're watching this on LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter or wherever you're at, stick it in a comment thread below, and then just connect to everyone that you see doing that. It would just be a way for you to walk away with a dozen people that care about this, and maybe you can continue this conversation offline or online in a different space where I'm not there. Go ahead and make those connections. Really, really important. Okay, well, it's actually not that important, but it might help you. It might help you a little bit. I don't know. Okay, cool. People are doing that. That's good stuff. Right. By the way, folks, if you've got any questions for any of our guests, why don't you use the Ask a Question feature on Crowdcast? Pop the questions at the bottom. We'll get to them at the end. If you're on LinkedIn, ask the questions in the thread. We'll get to them also. Okay, cool stuff. Let's talk about how to. There's a couple of things we need to talk about. Okay, so recruitment on communities. I think there's two broad ways to do it. We've talked about it before. I think on sort of Reddit and different places. Number one is to basically access the data and not necessarily get involved in the relationship building. In other words, this is a way, okay, we know there's an interest group here. We definitely want to speak to them, but we don't want to go in there and potentially pollute the conversation where people are having a good time, but we want to find out who they are, and maybe we send them an email once we find out who they are. So this may be called, I would say, the technically purely sourcing, right? It's trying to find the data that's out there and then figuring it out by inference whether this person might be a legit person to talk about. There's the other way of doing it, which is we've covered a little bit of it today. We'll talk about it a bit more towards the end. the social engineering side, so to speak. You go into a community with sort of an idea that, you know what, if I build some reputation here, it might be useful for me eventually to have dialogue with people that potentially I might be able to recruit from. So there's two different ways. Let's talk about the first way first, in terms of, you know, what data is out there without me necessarily getting too heavily involved in the community itself. Any thoughts on that, Wim? I guess I need to speak to you more than anything, because this is something you may it kind of dovetails with some of the technical work you do.
There's 3 scrapers that work on Discourse. There's Andre Bradshaw, who made his own Discourse scraper. There's the one that I always talk about, which allows you to scrape just about everything. And then there's a third one, which I haven't used yet, which is a super cool like Chrome extension. So if you really want to just grab your data and run away, that's the way to do it. But then, like Aaron also said, you can also open up people their profiles, and sometimes they're going to say like, "Oh, this is my my other accounts that I use. This is my Facebook account. This is my LinkedIn account." People can link their accounts together with Discord, and then they show up like, "Oh, this is my developer's account. This is where I go on Facebook. This is where I go on LinkedIn. This is my Spotify account."
Why would they do that? Is it because they want to just signal a little bit more depth to who they are, or is there, or maybe they've got a website they care about? I guess it might be just standard sort of, hey, you know, not say showing off, but personalization, that might be relevant. So, you know, I know I stick everything out there. So, okay. So tell me about sort of, I'm confused about the scraping business, because are you saying that the scraper would work if I had the link to a server and I'm a member of that server, then I could basically automate a lot of the activities?
You can pull out all the data. Aaron also just linked Instant Data Scraper, which also works on the web version of the Discord. So that also works as a scraper. I linked the 3 Discord scrapers I was talking about, but then you can just like pull out all the data out of a specific channel. For example, if a Discord has a channel where people just dump their LinkedIn, like we just did in the chat, you can grab all those LinkedIn links and then add all those people.
Yeah, so basically you have to be a member of the server to do it though, correct?
Yes.
And if I'm not a member of the server, there's literally no chance. Is that
you're
really?
not getting in?
Yeah, you won't see anything within the server at all if you're not a member.
That's really good. I think that's really good, because it kind of adds that layer of security, doesn't it? In the sense that, you know, we can understand a little bit more, okay, this is why, you know, maybe people feel a bit more comfortable in these spaces than otherwise. But this may work, you know, if you're recruiting for gardeners, for instance, you go to a server where people care about gardening, you know what? There's probably a bunch of people there that if you were to individually speak to them, they wouldn't be that annoyed. But you can use some of these tools to basically pull out, you know, most of the people that have public information, grab it, and then you can you know, sort of reach out to them off platform. Okay. Apart from these scrapers, is that more or less all you can do, or there's no way you can do any like Google sourcing on this, right?
You could.
I mean, maybe for finding channels, you know, I actually searched Reddit specifically with a natural language query. So I did check out our Discord server in quotations on a site search for Reddit. And that's how I found a couple more channels, you know, and then I put a couple other keywords in that string as well, like JavaScript, you know, React.js, you know, just to point me in the right direction for software engineer based Discord channels.
Okay, so that's cool. So basically doing a search from without using any tooling, just using a search engine, basically that's for discovery of groups, or should I say Discord servers, essentially, which are you can think of them as groups. Go ahead, Wim.
Speaking about search, Discord also has their own super cool booleans, which you can search, for example, for people who have posted files on Discord. Just people like, you can search a lot more interesting ways than you can just do your normal, like, I'm going to type in what I'm looking for. You can look for what posts from a specific user. You can post for keywords. You can search for in between certain dates. You can search for where somebody has posted a specific document. So all that cool stuff. I linked the support article for it, but there's a lot of cool search strings you can use in Discord as well if you're just searching on on one of the Discord servers.
That's interesting. Rosie, I wonder how many people actually know these operators within Discord. Are they commonly known, or is it, you know, do most people not kind of use search in this way within a server?
I don't know how many people use it. I think one of the challenges with chat spaces is that as a typical user, maybe they don't use it so much because they're more in the now and they're not necessarily searching past conversations. But like as a recruiter or anyone who wants to kind of make further use of the community and source data within it, then searches become more useful. I've done a fair amount just manually searching for stuff or trying to remember, find a link or something that someone said, and you have to put some queries together.
It is actually unusual user behavior, isn't it? I mean, you can see that on almost any group, because whatever groups there are, even things like Facebook groups, for instance, there's certain ways in which you could actually scrutinize what's being posted, and it's reasonably useful if you know how to do it and you're fluent with it. But there's Logan. Hey, Logan, how you doing? Second time we have Logan on Brainfood Live on air. How is that? And he's like, is he going to contribute? Is he going to give us some Discord sort of search operator to?
Yes, he's got a Discord for babies server. They talk about very important issues.
Well, you know what? I mean, again, these spaces are great. Let's say you're wanting to think about diversifying your workforce, for instance. I'm sure there's Discord servers for new parents and stuff like this, right?
Yes.
So all of this stuff is going to be super useful to do. A little bit more targeting, which these days is quite hard to do in an official way. Particularly you look at things like Facebook ads, you can't really do targeting by identity in the same way. So you've got to think about interest, and then you've got to infer from that interest. Oh yeah, this person must be, this type at this stage of their life or something. And then you can figure it out. So anyway, search outside of Discord. That's where you discover groups. Search inside Discord, use the operators, and basically be smarter about how to discover some of those things. Oh, Logan's taken over completely.
Logan pulled the plug, I think.
I think that's exactly what's happened.
I also have another one. If you find people on Discord and you find their nicknames, Discord has a very unique system where everybody can take their own nicknames, and you can there's no 7 or 8 people can have the same nickname, but you can look them up on What's My Name to see what other social media platforms they might be using with that nickname. So that's also a way that you can find people, and you can try and find people somewhere else.
This is within Discord.
No, this is another app which I've just.
Oh yeah, that's it.
That's a great way to find people on other platforms. Like you can find a Twitter profile, a LinkedIn profile.
They check like 400 different sites to see if the name has already been used somewhere.
Yeah, I'm now just scrolling through my memory thinking, have there been any dodgy sites I've signed up to as Hung Lee? It's like,
there's a lot of bad stuff that we can find.
Please, no one search what's my app for my name. That's probably not what I need to see.
Luckily, I did check it before the stream, and luckily there is a Korean creator also called Hung Lee who's also making a lot of accounts under the nickname Hung Lee. So you are safe.
That's
you just blame it on the other guy.
That's my technique. That's my technique. Just hide it in amongst the crowd of all the Hung Lees out there. I'm going to be safe in the shoal. Okay, cool. Let's talk about sort of the. So we're talking again about group discovery. Are there sites that have aggregated groups? Because sometimes if I can say, hey, I can Google this. Have there been anybody say, okay, I'm going to grab the 1,000 biggest Discord servers. Here's a page. Does that thing exist? Is there a spreadsheet?
I tossed them in the chat earlier. If people scroll up before the when I gave the Discord invite link, I linked 4 sites which aggregate Discords and public Discords that you can go onto.
Do you mind resharing that? I want to just grab that.
I'm gonna scroll up for a bit. I have them bookmarked, so I should just do it like this. But
it might be worth sharing screen, actually, Wim. Do you want to do that once you pull those things up? I wonder whether to give people a quick view as to what we're talking about.
Let me quickly. Somebody else can grab them from the chat, put them there. I will share my screen. And if nobody has done it, then I will find it myself. Let's see my screen.
There's too many LinkedIn links, isn't there? There we go.
So now I'm screen sharing. I am in, for example, this is one of my. I have several Discord accounts, so this is one of my Discord accounts. This is the Hall of Justice, which is Mike Cohen's Discord.
Yeah, cool.
And then people here can like have their announcements, specific rules and pronouns that you can use. I think we have a channel somewhere down here where people can share their real names and their LinkedIn's. So for example, here people just share their nickname, their real names and their LinkedIn addresses where people can find each other.
Cool.
Or talk about their real names. And you could easily scrape this and then get all the LinkedIn addresses out of there.
Is the real name share quite a common thing within big groups? Is that part of the Discord culture?
It depends. Some of them have it. Recruiters tend to do it more than developers, but there are developer sites where I can easily grab those. Like for example, but there are a few, but not always.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
For example, here you have it in French as well, where people just share their real names and their LinkedIn addresses.
Yeah, totally cool. It makes me think maybe if I'm going to do this, I should set up like a pseudonym and then be very open with my real name, but also have be in character somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, cool. All right, Wim, good stuff. Can you flick over to one of the discover all the Discord servers? Let's have a look at what that looks like.
Well, that's just web pages. So did I have it saved? I didn't have it saved, sadly. Let me see if I have I closed it like an idiot. I'm gonna have to quickly grab it from somewhere, and I don't want to share the wrong things. Like I know how you guys are.
The links are in the chat now, at the bottom of the chat.
Oh, somebody. Oh, thank you.
All right, awesome. Good stuff, guys. Thank you, whoever's done that.
Yeah, thanks, Glenn.
Okay, Glenn. Yeah, well done, mate.
So yeah, do you still want me to share it? Show it to
sure.
everybody?
Let's just show people. I'd be interested to know what it looks like myself, actually.
Okay, let's share my screen. And let's give permission to full screen. Yes. So, for example, here you can just this is one of the Discord servers where you can just search for anything. If you have something specific that you're looking for but you see here, for example, there's a lot of gaming that pops up with a lot of people on it. That's the biggest thing where Discord is known for. But for example, if you're looking for programming, you have a bunch of programming, software development experts, programming, C++, world of coding, and so on and so on.
And that number there is the number of members, is that right?
Yeah, this is the number of members that are in the server, and then this is how much, I think it's boosted. Let me just, let's not go there. So that's the number of members that are in that server. So this has 23,000 people in it. Okay,
so that's a biggie. Yep, excellent. Type in recruiting Brainfood, mate. Mate, there we are. Is that us?
No, that's not you. That's not you. I don't think you're public enough and big enough to show up on all of these.
I'm not big enough, not public enough. Goodness me, I need to step my game up on Discord. What a disgrace.
But what we can do is just, well, it's not going to work here, but you could, if you recruiting Brainfood is going to show up a few times, but then just look where there is a Discord link in this. But of course, because people have been talking about the talks themselves, it's not going to show up. But sometimes you can get lucky and just go
I'll be on page 180 there, so don't worry about it. Don't worry. I'm the reason why I say is I'm pretty certain I have set up a Discord server. I've just forgotten about it. So someone needs to find that and let me know if it still exists. There'll be one person. It'll be me.
Yeah, but then we cannot join because you need to get invited to it, or the invite needs to be open for forever. Some invites can be made that last forever and can be used forever.
So it is possible that I've actually created this thing that I'm in, but I can't get back in, and no one else can get in because I need to get back in to invite people, which would be quite a funny outcome. Never mind. I'll investigate later. Okay, let's progress on to the next step. Let's say we've got people who are interested in this. This is a good idea. We want to get involved a little bit. Is there a first step? Obviously, search the thing they're interested in, apply to join, I guess. Is that what you should do?
Make a Discord account, apply to join, read the rules, be a user first, learn the platform first, because if you go wrong and they kick you out, you are gone forever. check if there's like places where you can post your jobs, or you can talk about careers or career developments. There's a lot of places where you can have that. And your expertise as a recruiter and as a sourcer is career development. It's helping people find a new job. Most developers, they try to find a new job once every 2 years, maybe more. Like they do it once every 2 years. They're not the expert in finding a new job. They're not the expert in figuring out where the best jobs are and how to negotiate pay and such things. That's things that you do every day. So that's your expertise.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically set up a profile, and I forgot to ask this question, but it's possible for the same personal profile to go to different servers, right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. So if I set up Recruiting Ninja, I could be the same Recruiting Ninja across all of these different servers, correct? Regardless of which thing I entered. Yep.
Yeah. Except that you would have the same nickname as Michiel, because there's Michiel Wiersma who has that nickname. Clearly, so you would have the same nickname as him.
I'm not intending to steal it. Don't worry. I'll invent an even cooler nickname.
No, but you can have overlapping nicknames. Like that's the cool thing about Discord. You can have the same nickname as 27,000 other people. It doesn't matter.
Tell me about live streaming on Discord. Is that something you can do on Discord or not?
Yeah, you can just share. I think it is limited though on the server capacity. So I think you can only have like 20 people watching at the same time, and otherwise you need to boost the server and like pay money to Discord for it. But you can have several people sharing a screen or like showing what's happening in the game.
That's really interesting. I think I might actually do something on Brainfood on Discord. Because one thing that I think I'm missing a little bit is just more audience interaction. By the way, I love the interaction on chat stream. I think it's amazing. But I think for some reason it might be even more interactive on Discord, because maybe people can pop in and out on screen a bit more. It's a little less sort of having to, I don't know, I feel it might give the community a little bit more flexibility to wander in and out of conversations, where, you know, we're not here. There's still a bit of a barrier between the people on screen and the people who are watching, right? So yeah, Tom, don't you're in, mate. Don't worry. I'm gonna need the numbers, aren't I? So yeah, I'm not gonna be parsimonious with the invites. All right, cool. We'll keep going. Final words on sort of the first bit of advice for people like recruiters in particular entering the space. Erin, how about you? You want to give us some thoughts on this?
On how to enter the space of Discord?
Yeah, just to get into it and how to behave and what you're meant to do.
Yeah, I mean, I would really just reiterate a lot of the things that I said before. Be there as a resource and not as a salesperson, if that makes sense. You know, I agree with them. If you go in there and, you know, you start violating all the rules, they're going to ban you and you're going to be banned forever for, you know, for example. But on some of the channels that I have joined, job searching is a relevant topic for these people, but you have to make sure you're putting it in the right place. For example, on the blockchain developer Discord channel that I'm a part of, they actually have a channel specifically for people that want to show off their work to find a new project, right? So some of them are actively looking for jobs, and, you know, just as much as they don't want recruiters posting their jobs all over the main discussion channels, they don't want the members also self-promoting a whole bunch either. So they've put that in a specific place where they can self-promote, and then really you're just kind of shopping around at that point to see who's actually actively looking. And that's a really great thing to have that from both sides on the channel.
Very interesting. A question for both Wim and Erin. What are the biggest Discord servers for recruiters? Does this exist, and what are we looking at in terms of numbers here?
WayneTech, which I've already linked in the chat somewhere. There is a French Suceur and Optete Discord somewhere. I think ATAP or HRTX has their own Discord server, but it's very dead. So
yeah, it's not very active. I've been on both of those.
The super secret Quickly Discord, which I don't know if I'm allowed to share, so I don't know if I can. But Quickly, which is Andre Bradshaw's little cool thing that he has, also has his own Discord, which a lot of cool people are in there, and I don't know if I'm allowed to share it. So
don't share it, mate. I mean,
ask Andre if you guys want in. Like
No,
it's a
no,
cool
no.
kids club.
Well, the thing is, if it's cool kids, you don't ask, right? I mean, you have to be asked yourself. You can't just knock on a cool kids club and say, I'm cool. No, you have to demonstrate your coolness elsewhere and then get asked. That's the only way, right? That's the only way. Okay, no worries. I'd be interested to know, though, like, what is the volume? It's still quite new for recruiters, right? I don't think there's there's no group where there's thousands of recruiters hanging out. It's basically a couple dozen level at this stage, I would say.
I think there's 700 people in Wayne Tech, and that's the biggest one we have right now. Wayne Tech has like 700 people in it, so that's pretty decent, I would say.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I mean, basically, Glenn and Michael's put it in there, so well done. So this is Michael Cohen's thing, is it? Yeah. All right, cool, excellent. Well done, Michael. That's amazing. Rosie, give us a bit of advice from a recruiter's perspective. What would you say that person needs to do when they enter into this world?
I would, trying to add to what's been said, is that I would try to start conversations that would be of interest, that kind of overlap with recruiting and the specialism. So, like, if it's a programmer's Discord, is like, what's the latest trend in programming right now, or what's the top skill, or what do you find interesting, and try to influence it towards like stuff that you're interested in, but kind of thinking about like, well, what would be interesting for the members as well, and kind of seeing who pops up. The other angle worth considering is that, like, in most communities, like 90% of the members are lurkers, so a lot of them are not going to show up and participate. But if you know that and you post stuff with that in mind, then, and encourage people to maybe get in contact or reach out, kind of give that open kind of attitude, then maybe people will reach out at some point. It might not be straight away, but it's worth a shot, I guess.
No, that's absolutely right. I think, what's interesting here with the emergence of these online spaces is that the skill set of a recruiter is starting to change. Like, the priority skill sets are starting to change. Like, your ability to be like sensitive and aware of to what's the expected behaviors within these spaces suddenly becomes a premium. A lot of people aren't aware, or they don't have the intuition, the natural intuition, to be good at this. So there's going to be certain types of people I think are going to start, becoming successful as recruiters because they have this skill set, or they've developed it. So very interesting, something worth cultivating. And I do think it's similar to swimming. If you immerse yourself into these spaces, you'll just get it. Some will be faster than others, but ultimately, as human beings, we do know how to be social. That's how we've evolved. So I think if you get in there, you start swimming, just don't take any major risk early on, then you're going to be in good shape. Let's go to these questions. It's worth just diving into a few of these. Okay, Shimona, can you scrape candidate links? Yes, you can. Is there a list? We've shared them. Okay, here's one. Can you find certain countries that have Discord servers or groups? I guess can you do a country search? I mean, or is it purely?
I'm part of a few Belgian Discords where only Belgians are in there, and they talk about Belgian stuff. So there are country-specific Discords.
How do you search for that, though?
Either you look it up just like every other Discord, or you see if they are being posted in specific countries' forums or Reddits or subreddits or other places.
Yeah,
so it's the same way you would find a Java developer Discord, except you look for Belgians talking about Belgian stuff, or the Netherlands, or Germans, or whatever.
I just had this image of all of us charging into Reddit and start hunting around for Belgians. I don't know why I found that quite amusing.
There is a subreddit that says that Belgium does not exist.
Well,
just pointing that out, there is a subreddit. Belgium does not exist.
It's a hoax. It's a hoax. And Shimona, yeah, for Russian speakers, I see no reason why not. You could do maybe a language search on that. Maybe even that would come up. So okay, Shimona, it looks like you got lots of questions. I would say connect with the crew here, and they will be able to, under no obligation, of course, guys, but they will be able to share information from there. Make sure you connect with everyone into the group here as well. Anyway, I think we're coming to the end of the show, folks. So I just want to thank everyone for watching. I hope you've learned something today. please do go and like get into it. I think you need to set up an account. So before you join any groups, you need to set up an account, right? A personal account. Go and do that, and then like find some groups and knock on the door, see if you can get in. And by the way,
and don't be afraid to make mistakes, because you can make 27 accounts if you really want to. So you could make mistakes until you get it right.
Yeah, and bonus points if you find and somehow find the hidden treasure of recruiting Brainfood server somewhere. It's like dropped into like into the undergrowth of the internet. I can't find it. Find it. Let me know. All right. Listen. Thanks for watching. Thank you to our amazing guests. Erin, thanks for dropping in. Good to see Logan. We'll catch you soon, my dear. Wim, great to see you. Thanks for fiddling around with the mic and stuff and getting back online. Great to see you, man. And Rosie, really great to see you. Well done, everything you're doing. I'd love for people to actually get more access to some of your work. So please do share your kind of stuff with me, and I'll make sure people get a hold of it as well. Rosie Sherry, someone you should follow when it comes to community stuff. Okay, folks, thank you all for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Wasn't that great? And by the way, if you're interested in conversational topics of this type, please do follow the channel on Crowdcast. I hit 2,000 followers last week, I think, which I think makes us the biggest channel on Crowdcast, would you believe it, apart from Crowdcast themselves. So that's an incredible achievement. Thank you so much for your support. We do this every Friday, so make sure you follow if you like this kind of conversational chat. I'm also going to make a commitment to start writing some of this up. So there's going to be some show notes to this. I want to put it on my Substack, which is a new channel I'll put out. You're going to have to subscribe to that, but if you do subscribe to it, you will get the written up version of this, and then you'll have basically the how-to that you can go ahead and do stuff. Okay, next week we're back as ever. We do this every Friday. We're going to be talking about startup, scale-up hiring, firing, startup culture. It's a big topic for all of us, folks. Lots of tech layoffs, lots of scale-up saying, oh my goodness, no longer scaling up, lots of VCs backing off. What does all that mean for culture? We've got some amazing guests joining us who've gone through that journey of big ups and big downs. We're going to learn from them what the world looks like in terms of TA and HR. So make sure you register for that. We're doing it next week, Friday, 2 p.m. Okay, that's about it. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.